Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. I didn't have to zoom back very much, did I? I've already zoomed back quite a long way as it was. You'll have seen the photograph, I'm sure, where I'm straining to see over the top of this enormous box. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, slightly, I've got very mixed feelings about today because I am delighted to review this kit. It's the Airfix 1/24 scale HAWKER Typhoon 1B. It's a kit this has actually been loaned very kindly to the channel, very kindly, because it wasn't cheap to post, by Neil from Creative Time Wasting. So very grateful to you, Neil. Thank you very much indeed. I actually owned this kit myself, not this particular one, but I owned one of these when it first came out, and then I sold it again along with my Mosquito because it was taking up a lot of room, and I started to struggle for space. What was I thinking of? I should have just stuck it in a storage unit, but anyway. However, I've got very mixed feelings because, as a lot of you will already be very aware by now, by the time you see this, I'll talk about the timing of this video in a second, but there are some problems at Airfix, aren't there? And I have decided this is going to be the last Airfix review that I do. I'm not going to say ever, but certainly for the foreseeable future, whilst we have new management at Airfix who seem to be not understanding the quality of their people, not understanding the quality of their customers or their market, not understanding anything, quite frankly, seem to put in incredibly immature people in their marketing department who are just issuing the most extraordinary marketing campaign bulletins that seem to be actively despising their own fans and customers, paying customers, and we know that this is to do with the Castelnau group, who are, some of these people I understand are from more used to working for funeral directors. They've got AI images. It's very pertinent to talk about that today as well, because here we've got one of Airfix's best ever artworks, in my opinion, right up there with the Roy Cross work. And again, I'll talk about that again in a second in detail. But this is by Adam Tooby, who of course became synonymous in recent years with Airfix with his fine work. This, I think, is... I'm no expert on this, but I think this is a proper artist. I don't think it's a CGI one, but I could be wrong, but it's beautifully done. It's not AI, it's proper art, and it's fantastic, quite frankly. People like this now, looks like, I don't know whether he's been, his contract's been ended by Airfix, but I suspect it has, because they're using AI for everything, and it's a complete mess. Everything they're doing is a complete mess. I was unhappy with Airfix. I've already talked about this. By the time you see this, we'll have got this off our chests already, I think, in the members only discussion, which I think was last week, recently, where we talked about it. So I won't go into dwelling about this today. I want to get on with the review. But I just want to say, when you have a company that suddenly gets rid of everything that was good, the artwork, the senior management that were well liked and respected, the common sense approach. I was a little bit unhappy, everybody knows this. I was a little bit unhappy 2 years ago. Let's talk about Airfix video, in which I talked about some of the problems I thought that were already emerging with their rather childish PR campaign. But that is as nothing. That was a little bit childish. What we have today is astonishingly childish, puerile, immature nonsense. It's smutty, it's crude, and it's so mistargeted. They simply don't know the audience they're aiming at. They clearly don't know anything about marketing. And I speak as someone who's had a career in marketing and sales for my entire career. What are they doing? The people running that organisation should be ashamed of themselves at the moment. And if they don't radically change course, this company will fail. Hornby, I'm talking about overall, but certainly the Airfix brand is in real danger now, because people like me and many others of you, it's not about me. I'm not one of these people that's that heavily involved with Airfix. I was never that close to Airfix, but I always gave them the benefit of the doubt. We've had some awful quality from them. I did last year. 3 new tools, all 3 were badly affected by quality issues, as it turned out, even though I didn't realise it at the time. In the case of one of them, the Jaguar. But dire quality, but always given the benefit of the doubt because of the way they handle themselves. With Dale and others, this actually predates, well, it doesn't predate Dale, but it predates Dale's being head of brand. This was when Darryl Burge was head of brand, and Dale was there, I think he was marketing manager or director, I can't remember, forgive me if I got that wrong. But I know he was in the marketing department, because I remember him being there. But Darryl Burge, of course, was in charge, and he sadly passed away very suddenly, far too young. Another nice guy that I really liked and respected as well. And you couldn't be further from that now. You seem to have morons that are like children. I'm told it's a group of females that are running this marketing campaign. I don't know the details, but it's dire, it's bad, and it's going to hurt them. And I tell you now, I for one, that they are so insulting to you and to me. They are insulting you. They're not just not listening to you. This is way worse than I was complaining about. Give us the kits we really want. No, this is much worse than that. This is actually trying to humiliate you, trying to insult you, insinuating things about people. I've never seen anything like it. This ranks up there with the Jaguar campaign, and perhaps even more so with the Gerald Ratner campaign back in the 80s. Gerald Ratner of Ratner's Jewellers, who were incredibly successful jewellers on the high street. Everybody used to buy their wives, mums, sisters, girlfriends, etc. jewellery from there for Christmas and birthdays. They were a rip-roaring success in the 1980s. And then Gerald Ratner came out in an interview, and he was at some convention, and said, basically what we sell is just a load of old crap. Now, this is very similar because it's suggesting something that is denuding the quality of their image. This is worse because it's got this rude crudeness that people don't need to hear, and it's like one person's perception. It's vile, to be quite honest with you. So anyway, I'm not going to rant about this now because I'll have had my say already elsewhere. If you want to know what I really want, what I really think, you need to become a member, because you'll hear more about it when we have those members meetings. I am not going to review another Airfix kit for the foreseeable until I sense that this company has been turned around in the right direction. And I'm not interested, I don't care what they come out with. I don't think they're going to come out with a lot in terms of new tools anyway. But we're not going to do that, so I'm just saying my piece now. I know that they've sent other people, maybe with some justification, I don't know. But they've sent also threatening letters to people, telling them to stop using their logo and all this kind of thing. Well, I have the Airfix logo. It's the Airfix badge that was sent to me by Dale, in fact. And I have the Airfix beer glass. So I tell you what, I can't believe in the case that we all know who I'm talking about, but I've got some mixed feelings about the way that was being used. But why, even if that's right, and perhaps it shouldn't have been, they were saying that there was passing off was going on. Now I know a bit about this because I got involved in a legal case with my former employers. This is 15 years ago now, but my former employers were having to threaten to sue somebody who was passing off. So I do know quite a lot about this. I'm not going to go into it now. But even if you agree, even if you think that that's perhaps it was overused or whatever, why would you go and threaten your greatest ally on YouTube? Yeah, not me, obviously. I'm not talking about me. But your greatest ally on YouTube, why do you go and threaten them with legal action? It's like, it is literally biting the hand that feeds you, isn't it? I just, are these people completely mental? I just don't understand it. Anyway, I think it's a grave mistake what they've done. I think they've upset so many modelers. Any mature, sensible person looking at the way they're going about this marketing campaign is going to be like, whoa. And this is a company where 20% of the product is sold to children. Really? What on earth are they doing? So, I'm going to finish this because I want to get on with this. I will not review another Airfix kit going forward until I feel that something radical has changed for the better. At the end of this review, I'm taking down, so I don't get a cease and desist letter. It's funny, isn't it? I'll be taking the Airfix. You don't need to send me a letter. I'm going to take it down. And I'll never show that Airfix logo again until you get your act together. Airfix, Hornby. Hornby is in a disastrous state, and I think Airfix needs to be bought by somebody while there's still something left of Airfix, because it's a brand we all love so much, and it deserves better than these idiots that are running it, and that's what I think. I'm being blunt about it. I think it's disgraceful the way they're conducting themselves. They have complete ignorance of what they're doing. It's just a bull in a china shop with the completely the wrong idea about what models are, what they want or what they expect or what they're prepared to tolerate. And the only way to stop people from treating you like that is to hit them where it hurts. No more reviews from me, no more. I'll try not to mention them in the future. That's impossible to do completely, of course, but I certainly won't be in any way promoting another Airfix product until we, and it's not my, they haven't done anything to me personally, by the way, I've had no communications with them, but until we as a community get some sort of apology and a turnaround in this attitude, this disgraceful behaviour, there's no other word for it, then that's it, I'm done with them. Yeah, I'm done with them. Not interested. We don't need Airfix. We want it though. This is a brand that is so cherished by so many people, especially in the UK and the Commonwealth. How dare they treat people like that? These immature fools who are running this company and got no idea what they're doing. Just go away, yeah? And until you sort that out, Hornby, Castle now, call yourselves whatever you want, frankly, just go away, because you're not getting a penny out of me, that's for sure, and I would recommend other people to totally boycott those products until we see that they are deserving of our custom. There you go, got a rant. Was there ever a more legitimate or deserved rant from me? Apart from Honda. That's another story. So, that's where I stand, and I'll just reiterate that at the end. Back to Neil and his wonderful kit. Now, I'm going to talk about this in some detail. I mentioned about the artwork. I'm going to have a quick... After that rant, I deserve a little sip of tea, I think. I just can't believe that we are having a conversation like this in 2026 and that people can be so ignorant of what they are doing and the damage they are doing that they would actually bring out such anger and emotion in people. And the anger and emotion stems from the passion that we have for the brand and the products and the history. You know, any little differences I had with Dale and his team, they were just differences of nuances, you could call them, but this is fundamental. This is disgusting what's going on now. Well, it's shocking, isn't it? It's shocking. Somebody said the other day, by the way, and I don't know how true this is, so I'll just make a disclaimer, I don't know if it's true or not. Somebody said it was Clint that was making these rather provocative Facebook posts. Now, I've met Clint, and I spoke to him at length actually at Telford last year. And I don't know if it's true, this allegation. I don't believe it at all, because I thought I don't see him being the sort of person that would type this stuff. He didn't come across like that at all. No. I think there's people, I wonder if they realised already what the damage that they've done. I tell you something, these guys are going to be in big trouble. If they're, just stop buying them, yeah? Just stop buying the products. I know they've got some attractive stuff, the Saracen, there's the Junkers, there's the Phantom coming out soon hopefully. Just don't buy it, just wait. That's what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wait until a future time when the price will go plummeting down and you'll be able to enjoy it later. I won't buy it right now. I think a signal needs to be sent out from all customers and all people who love Airfix and the brand historically. I think we just got to put draw a line in the sand and say that's enough of that. Just crawl back into whatever hole you came from, because this is disgusting what's being done. That's enough from me. Anyway, let's talk about this. So, the Typhoon then. I think the first flew in 1941, I think it was. It'll tell us on in a minute, and there'll be a history. But I wanted to talk about the artwork first of all, which I think is fantastic. It's depicting real events, this is. And I've timed the release of this video to coincide pretty much with the date around August the 20th. And August the 20th was the last day of the Battle of Normandy. And this was the Battle of the Falaise Pocket, or the Falaise Gap. And what you're seeing here is the Typhoons are attacking the German columns that are trying to escape from the pocket, heading for Falaise and beyond up to Chambois, and then head for the Seine basically to try and escape from the Allies who are encircling them. And from the north you had Montgomery's forces, you had the Polish with their artillery, you had the Canadians with their Sherman tanks and their Fireflies. From the south you had the United States Patton's United States forces coming up, and they were getting squeezed and they were making a dash for it. That's what's depicted in the picture. And I actually submit to you even more specific. I think it's the road from a place called Lambert-sous-Dives on the Dives River near Chambois. There's a little crossing called the Moissy Crossing, which is like a ford across a river, basically in a farmyard. And this was the scene of a horrendous massacre where they tried to get the armour across and they couldn't. There was the Typhoons were attacking them, and Thunderbolts as well, by the way, and they were strafing them, bombing them, rockets, and knocking 7 bells out of them. And the field beyond, if they got across this Moissy Crossing, this little ford, and it was like there's like a little water wheel, it's tiny. You're thinking, how could this battle have happened here? It's nothing. It's like a little crossing where you've got to go through the water. And on the other side, the escape side, there's these open fields, but this was the worst possible thing for the Germans because they went into this open killing zone, and you had the the Polish with their heavy guns, long-range artillery, pounding them with artillery in these fields. You had the American and British Air Forces knocking them to bits, quite frankly, and it was, I don't want to demean this, it was actually horrific. If you see any of the scenes where they end up fleeing up towards, say, the Shah in the direction of the sort of Chambois direction and beyond Falaise, and there's a place called they call it the Mace, the Heights of Kandahar, where it's called the Mace because of the shape of it. It's like this raised plateau where the Canadians ultimately had the high ground and were able the Poles, big pardon, the Poles had the high ground. They were shelling down onto the Germans, and the Germans tried to escape behind them, and they just got themselves in a crossfire, plus the aircraft. It was absolute slaughter. This is the one they call the Road of Death, the original Road of Death. If you see the images, it's absolutely horrific. And there was no escape, and there's just burned dead horses, dead men, animals, burned out vehicles, incinerated body parts everywhere. General Eisenhower famously said, he visited the next day when it was all over, and he said you could walk for 200 or 300 yards, literally, and there was no way you could walk that distance without constantly stepping on dead, burnt flesh. He said it was, and the smell was absolutely horrific. It was really like a scene from hell. And I think he described it as like a scene from Dante. Unbelievable. Anyway, I've actually not been to this location. It's one of the few places in the Normandy campaign that I didn't go, and I'm going to do so in the future. So I want to retrace this, and I'll probably do a YouTube video on Peter Goes Road. So I didn't we go in this summer really when it was nice weather, but I've had these health problems with my foot and what have you. But anyway, in the future we'll try and do that. Anyway, let's get back to the kit. So, beautiful artwork by Adam Tooby before they went to this AI CGI crap. AI is the word I'm looking for, because I think he used CGI sometimes, but he did it quite well. It didn't look obvious, and there was no stupid mistakes in it. I mean, we've just seen the Junkers under this current regime I've talked about, under the umbrella of this Castle Now group at Hornby. They've got an AI company. They're using the AI guys, it seems, and they've got Junkers 52 with its wheel raised up above the snow and all sorts of stupidity, and they think we can't spot it. The fact that they can't spot their own mistakes tells you that they're not competent. They don't know what they're doing. Let's move on to when Airfix were good, okay? Now, kit number A19002. So, I'm going to show you on this side. So I'll just quickly zoom you in, because a lot of you will know this kit. Some of you have built it, of course. Those of you with lots of space. I like the boxing of this. I like the boxing. So then you've got the 4 schemes. And then the other thing that I particularly liked about this kit was, and I wish they'd carried on with this, don't forget in the 70s they used to refer to this as a super kit. This was the ultimate product. But look what they did on the back. So they show 4 completed kits like the ones that they would show at Telford. In fact, they were shown at Telford. I saw all 4 of them. And then they show it with all the schemes and the descriptions talking about it. Does it mention this battle I've just talked about? Yeah, it doesn't go into specifics. It's just talking about how they would attack the German columns and blah blah blah. Now there is some CGI images, renderings, which I'm not that keen on, but isn't it great that you've got that on the back? It's almost Matchbox-like in its concept, isn't it? Which I like. So let's have I'll read to you what it says. Oh, this is going to take a while. This is a big one, okay? So this is not going to be a half-hour review. I've already ranted about Airfix about 15 minutes. It's a shame though, you know. Nobody wants to see something that they have cherished and enjoyed all their life, and this applies to probably most of you watching this video. You don't want to see something destroyed. And there's a lot of this going on in culture. I don't want to get into wider and political issues, but there's a lot of this going on, isn't there? Things that we cherish, things that we have built up being broken down. You got it in popular culture with things like Star Wars and lots of other historical art, if you like, cultural works. We're not going to tolerate that. So there's only one way to make them pay, and that's in their pocket. Right, the 24 scale Hawker Typhoon then. Introduced into service in 1941. Well, they could have made the writing a bit bigger, it's a big enough box. Introduced in 1941, the Typhoon was designed to be the RAF's new ultimate interceptor fighter. Superseding the Hawker Hurricane, it was hoped that the Typhoon, together with the Spitfire, would be powerful and effective opponents for the Luftwaffe. But it was not to be. Initially plagued by mechanical woes from the engine, and suffering a deficit in performance at high altitude, the Typhoon instead found fame as the new ultimate low-level attack aircraft, a role to which it was much better suited and became hugely effective. Envisaging before the Hurricane was in RAF service, didn't know that, the Typhoon was built around the huge and incredibly powerful Napier Sabre engine, which is basically two V12s strapped together, yeah? This engine was highly impressive and a true feat of engineering, featuring 24 cylinders in an H-block pattern, providing 2,200 horsepower. Even today, that's a lot, isn't it? Hey. But while it delivered excellent performance, its complexity and lack of reliability added to the Typhoon's early problems. The rest of the Typhoon's airframe was a combination of traditional Hawker and more modern construction techniques, featuring a semi-monocoque fuselage with easily removable panels around the engine for maintenance. Armament was provided by 4 20mm Hispano cannons, making the Typhoon very heavily armed for a fighter of this period. The Typhoon presented a number of issues upon its introduction to service. The tail was prone to separating from the rest of the airframe. Yes, oh boy. Especially during violent manoeuvres, which required strengthening fish plates to be added. Monoxide was also found to be leaking constantly into the cockpit, so oxygen masks were required to be worn by pilots during the entire flight. This problem was never rectified throughout the entire machine's service life. Ooh. But various other aspects of the Typhoon were improved. As it matured from its high-level interceptor with failings to a superb low-level bomber, it went through a number of structural and detail changes. The cockpit canopy changed from the car door type arrangement to a sliding bubble canopy. A number of propeller blades increased from 3 to 4, and the horizontal stabiliser was enlarged by fitting those from the Hawker Tempest. The Typhoon was also upgraded with the capability to carry the bombs under each wing, or 8 rocket projectiles. I thought it could carry both. I think it can carry both. Or maybe not. 4 of these rockets were carried under each wing. It was with the rockets the Typhoon really found their niche. By decimating German armour and material in the days both before and after D-Day, the aircraft became famous for its deadly and accurate attacks. Its powerful cannon armament was also ferociously effective for strafing. They reckon that it could open up a tiger tank if it hit it from behind. It could blast into a tiger tank. And apparently they used to aim low, to aim just under the back of the floor of the Tigers, because it would ricochet off the road and it would penetrate the thin armour underneath. Nasty. And the Germans, of course, used to famously call them Yabos. Achtung Yabo! And they were terrified of these things. They saw these, they used to dive for cover. I mean, real fear. Real fear. Throughout its service life, the Typhoon remained a difficult beast to fly. Despite being unforgiving and at times dangerous, the machine was both loved and respected by its pilots. However, once the war in Europe had ended, in May 1945, its days were quickly over. Well, without its welcome, really. All Typhoons are retired as scrap, so that today just one complete survivor remains as a reminder of the contribution of this wonderful aircraft made to the Allied war effort, as a memorial to the pilots who mastered its tricky flight characteristics and flew them to such good effect. And I'll tell you one person who flew these to good effect as well. The filmmaker and producer, technical genius Ken Adam, from the James Bond films. Films like Goldfinger, You Only Live Twice, the fantastic sets. He used to create these amazing sets. Remember the one in You Only Live Twice with the volcano interior, with the rocket gantry inside, and then Spy Who Loved Me with the submarine pen inside the tanker. Moonraker, he did all the set for the actual space station. Just incredible. He was a brilliant genius. He was a German Jew. I think I'm right, his name was German. German Jew who fled Germany long before Second World War and ended up wreaking revenge on the German Nazi Empire, as you see. Right, enough of this. Let's move on and get cracking. Otherwise we're going to be here forever. Now bear with me, because we are going to have to open the bags. As I say, it's going to be a bit of a while. But I think this is, for me, this is the last Airfix review for a long time. So this is a celebration of everything that was good about Airfix, I hope. Better hold my judgment till the end. Right, but the bags are not open, so Neil's never touched it. And I'm going to make sure I very carefully reseal everything for him, so it won't be, it won't be obvious in the future if he chooses not to build it. He needs to sell it on. It will not be obvious to anybody that anybody's been in. And this is why we have the gloves. With no fingerprints on it or anything like that. Oh my goodness, just look at the amount of plastic that's coming out here. Lord. This goes on and on and on. Three parts. I'm nervous. Oh, that one's open. No, that one isn't sealed. Ah, it was. I think Neil's been into this one. Who can blame him? You want to have a look at it, don't you? Have a good old read of the instructions. Right, so I mean, this is when Airfix were good, because they were doing some great stuff. I love the fact they've got this colour, they've bothered to go into colour with the actual instructions, and it's a big old instruction book, this as well. So I'm really going to flash through this. RAF Museum, thanks to the RAF Museum. I think it's at Hendon, the one that they've got, isn't it? Maximum speed, 412 miles an hour. Wow. Range, 510 miles. It's good range. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Right, so inside we've got our usual sort of descriptions, and then it starts off by offering you 3 different options. And here we've got the guns bays option, where you have the gun bays open and the engine open, everything off, or some of the panels of the cowlings on the engine are on, or completely buttoned up, like that. Why does it say that again? Okay, it's just doing the same in different languages. So basically, and I will flash through this fairly quickly because it will take some time, otherwise too much. So basically, you start off with your spars arrangement, and then you build up this quite hurricane-like framed tubular cockpit construction. A lot of detail to go in here. A lot of detail. So it's one of those kits you're just going to have to make it as a project for, I don't know. Well, how long would it take? I suppose it depends who you are. In the case of Neil, it'll probably take him about 2 weeks. Phil Flory, maybe a month, 2 months. Peter Oxley, probably about 6.5 years. Anyway, I'm not joking. That's probably not far from the truth. Anyway, so here we go, building it up. You've got all of this. You're literally building it section by section by section. Sorry, I just need to move that. I also need a swig of tea. Just bear with me. All sorts of things going in here. There's gears that operate like a pinion wheel that operates the rudder pedal, controls. Where my thumb is, there's a trim wheel there, and then you're going to ultimately build up your seat down here. It's got a little bit of padding, not much of it, a bit of leather padding I think on the back. Then you've got your armour plate coming in here. Yep. And Airfix do this thing where they show in red the previous step. I don't know why they do that. I've never felt that was particularly necessary really. It's one thing I'm still a bit mystified why it's needed. What you've just built, you know what you've just built. Anyway. And then you've got the options here. So this is when you don't have the pilot, which is why it's crossed out, and you have your belts hanging. And then if you do have the pilot, you do it differently later. Lots of, you've got the gun sight going in there, you've got all the side controls, things like the throttle stops and various trims and fuel pumps and controls, etc, etc. Some more gubbins going in there, looks like it's a heater element or something. And then it's probably the oxygen supply, isn't it, that, in fact, pipe. And then you've got the option of your pilot, so you've got a 24 scale pilot going in here. And he's going to sit on his seat cushion. Well, it's because it's a parachute in reality. Becomes your seat cushion. That's the only sort of seat cushion that you get. Ask me how I know that. Oh, did I ever tell you that I once flew in a Spitfire? Yes, okay, we've done that about 3,000 times. Okay, back to the... I can't resist it, can I? So yeah, you're sitting on your pilot sits on his parachute, and you've got your oxygen bottle going in. You've got your instrumentation coming in here, and then you're going to do the engine. Start your Napier Sabre engine, this enormous beast of an engine, which is basically, as I say, two V12s bolted together in effect. I will just say this is a slight criticism here. They're not labelling anything. Now, one of the things, if you remember, and by the way, just going back to talk about Airfix, I got some criticism from some quarters for that 109 summarisation. 109 was the one that had a lot of quality problems last year, but in the end they sent me a perfect one, sort of. Good enough. But I got criticised because I placed it third in my kits of the year. But one of the key reasons was, making up for some of that deficit of quality, was the extraordinary instructions where they'd labelled everything, explained the engine components, what they all were, and I thought that was brilliant. I really did. That's what we wanted to see. And unfortunately here we haven't got that. This predates now a little bit, so yeah. Yeah, but that was the reason that it scored and managed to get on the podium despite the dire quality, was the fact that it was so exceptional in its instructions. And it showed the guns and explained how they all worked. It was brilliant. Anyway, here you've got the Napier Sabre coming together, completely twin superchargers, and oh, what's it got? Twin superchargers, and it's got. Has it got turbocharger and supercharger? It looks like it has. I'm not an expert on the engine, so shout up if you know. But look at the beast and how it goes in. You got all your plumbing coming in. They've got your injectors and your fuel rails coming in. Look at all that. That's incredible. Wow. I like it. One thing I do like about these instructions, I say I'd like to have had a label, but at least they're not overcrowding every frame. They're doing one thing at a time. And although it means there's a lot of frames, how many's going to be? 120 or something? More. 227 frames. Oh! But that's good, because you don't want to be confused when you're building the kit. You don't want it to be a competition to see how little paper and print they can use. I want to know how to put it together. We all need that. And they're doing that very well, because they're just doing one process at a time, yeah? Keeping it nice and steady so you can work your way through. Look at all these fuel supply lines, coolant lines. This is a complicated beast. No wonder they had such trouble with the reliability. Oh, look at it. I mean, this is making Formula 1 look straightforward, you know? Blimey. Just look at it. Ducting, intakes. Yeah, here's your intake ducting underneath, on the chin. I mean, it's literally like two Formula 1 engines strapped together, isn't it, basically? Effectively, you've got the power of a mosquito in a single engine, haven't you? Really incredible. No wonder it went so fast. When these things dived at the Germans, they were absolutely terrifying. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? And it made a screaming noise as well when it came in, a bit like the Sea Fury does. So there you go, you've got all your side ducting going in, you've got your coolant ring going on the front here for the water jacket. Or is it the oil? I always get confused. I think it's the cooling. So I think this will be a dry sucked engine. It'll be, water pumps. Sorry, oil pump. I mean, oil pumped via electric motors to keep the engine constantly supplied. It won't be relying on gravity. Not this one, I don't think. And then we're starting to get the makings of your wing, where we're going to do first of all, attaching to the spars, actuation rods for the undercarriage, bringing in the lower wing in here onto the fuselage. And then we've got the bays that are going to create the gun bays here, and the bays for the actual wheel gear bays as well. Quite a lot of framework to go in. Same over on this side. I think it's the same here but in reverse. And then you've got the sort of rear formers, box section, and the gun bay sections going in the back section where the flaps are going to be. And then we get to the Hispano 20mm cannons, which look pretty fine. I've got to say, we're interested to see what the plastic's like. No, okay. Disappointed they didn't manage to slide mould it. I mean, this is kind of before. Slide moulding wasn't so common in 2014 yet, but they are telling you to drill out the muzzle at the end, look, which is good. They're telling you what size and everything. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. And if you haven't got the skill or you're worried, just leave it. Or replace it with some brass ones. I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get some master model beautiful. And I've seen them, the 24 scale master model cannons, metal brass, basically. Absolutely fantastic. That's what I'd probably do on this. At this scale, plastic cannons, for me, don't really work. It's definitely time to go for a bit of aftermarket. But I have seen people do it and do it well, and it's not obvious. Sometimes I've been at Telford, and I've said to people, are they master model or are they the kit plastic cannons? And they say, oh no, it's the plastic ones, Came with the kit, out of the box. So, if you've got the skill, fair enough. If you're like me, just if you haven't got the skill, just replace it. Anyway, here you go. All the gun ammunition feed belts, the ammunition boxes, I should say, with the belts, and then you can see the feed belts there going into the cannons. And it does look, on the finished kit, this looks absolutely amazing, I've got to say. Then we've got the winged fuel tanks, additional fuel tanks. So it has a fuel tank in the middle, in the normal place like a Spitfire ahead of the pilot, and then it's got two big ones in the wings. It carries a fair old lump of fuel, doesn't it? You've got the leading edges going on there as a separate unit, and then you've got these the panels here with the little formers going on, and they go on the top. Basically the covers for the gun area, isn't it? The inboard cover. And then you've got the outer wing coming out, being attached there. And some models have got a light and some models have a light, some models don't have a light, so you make sure you get the right one here. And then you bring your top wing down onto your bottom wing and seals in your guns, and we're all done there. And you've got the lights on the wingtip, and then we're going to do some the 20mm Hispano aero shrouds that go around them. Then you're building up your tail, vertical stabiliser, and then you're going to do the box section for your tail wheel. Did it tell you to put some weight in it? Oh no, it's not. No, you don't need weight, do you? Because it's tail setter, sorry. And then we've got the base of the fuselage coming in here. You bring one section in, and then you do the other section later. Do not glue, is that? Do not glue? Do not cut the sections off. Oh yeah, so it's basically telling you do not glue, but do not put glue on it if you're going to have it removable. Because obviously this is where you get the option of sorry, it's there. Open, cowling, or closed, buttoned up. Same on the other side, so this is kind of a repeat on the opposite side of what we just seen. Open or buttoned up on the port side. Well, actually it's sticking the starboard side on. And then you've got your fillet fuselage section underneath. Your exhaust, let's hope that Airfix have not moulded, because these have sure enough they have a seam in them. A true weld seam on the real aircraft, so let's hope they haven't gone and put the sprue gate attachment point sticking into that, because that would really be annoying. We'll see. I can't remember. And then you've got your cowling going on here, your intake cowling on the chin, and then you've got your panel covers for your Napier Sabre engine, and you've got the top cowling coming down a bit like a Spitfire. And then you get your lower cowlings. There's a lot of separate cowlings, aren't there? Gosh, it's very part heavy. Did it say how many parts are in this kit, by the way? That I need to check. I think we know that it's made in India. We can tell that because it's the blue plastic before they went to this better grey plastic. So this is the softer blue plastic, which we have spoken of, not entirely positively in the past. It can be a little bit tricky, but what does it say here? Bum, bum, bum. I didn't look at that other side, because I thought it was all generic. Made in India. Doesn't say when. We know it's 2014, don't we? Because that was the anniversary of D-Day, of course. D-Day, what was it? 70th anniversary. 70th, of course. So basically all your flaps and your covers, you've got the option of having the radiator flap open or closed, the intake flap. Oops. Then, over here we have got the building up your horizontal stabilisers. Sorry. Horizontal stabilisers coming in here. Putting on your elevators, and those all going together, of course. Showing you the different angles, 23 degrees top, 24 degrees bottom is the maximum deflection. And then you're building up your rudder and your trim tab here. Oh, it's quite interesting the way they've got the trim tab, isn't it? Wow, that's quite detailed, isn't it? All round here, this is the trim tab for the rudder. Wow, and that's got 27 degrees either way on the rudder and 11 degrees on the trim tab. Fantastic. And then we've got your main gun cover coming in. If you're going to close it up or if you're going to have it open, here they are. Very, very nice. And they sort of fold back, don't they? They concertina back. Then we have got some work going under some of the hydraulic lines here going in your gear bay. There's a hydraulic bottle here, which is probably the activation for the undercarriage. What is it? Compressed gas. Might be CO2, I can't remember. Experts, please shout up. And then all your gubbins is basically going in, all your activation arms and rods are coming in here, and then the main gear legs are going to be built up here, and then you get to what looks like weight on wheels. That's good, especially at this scale you need that. Weight on wheels, tyres and wheels, putting those in, and your gear doors, and then you've got the gear door covers, the trim covers that shut it all in. You've got your tail wheel then being constructed, which is a retracting tail wheel on this one, and then we're going to do basically our ailerons, and then we're going to move on to the flaps over here. Little bit more, what is that? Yeah, a little bit more detail on the internal sort of cockpit wall. Some more instruments, including a compass. And then putting in those accoutrements go in here. And then you've got a couple of options about, depending on which version, there are certain hand flaps which are not present. Some of them you have to cut off. And then here, in this case, we've got, this is the 1B, so this has got the bubble canopy, which is the better aircraft anyway. And you've got the option of open or closed. It looks like you just get one canopy and you just have it open and closed. Then we've got our rockets, and of course they used to claim that firing the full salvo of these rockets, this is what HAWKER's claimed anyway, Sydney Cam. He claimed that a Typhoon unleashing all 8 rockets on a target was the same equivalent firepower as a broadside from a Royal Navy cruiser, which is pretty frightening if you think about it. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that lot. And of course these were used also against shipping targets, weren't they? Now we've seen lots of footage of things like bow fighters and mosquitoes doing it. Unleashing onto shipping, absolutely lethal they were. The only problem is they're an unguided rocket, so you've got to be very accurate. And you know the rocket itself has got no guidance, so there's no accuracy. It's all about setting up your attack run when you dive, making sure you're lined up and you're compensated for the for the conditions. So things like the wind conditions, you really got to be. Is my light just gone? I've lost my light. Oh dear, it's faded out. No power. That's a shame. Yeah. So basically, you know, it's down to the skill of the operator. Basically, there's no guidance or electronics to help you. So the guys who really could knock out tanks were the aces for these aircraft, but it wasn't easy. And this is another version of that story I told you about them aiming underneath the tank at the floor in front of the tank with the cannons. They actually used to do it with the rocket sometimes because they knew that if they hit the rocket and it exploded directly under the tank, it would probably flip it into the air, and therefore they'd get a kill that way. Trying to hit especially the smaller tanks like a Mark IV, quite tricky, you know, when you're diving down at speed and you've got crosswinds or whatever. It's not easy to do, and that's why they reckon that I think they only had like 7% kill rate or something. It's quite low. If you read Anthony Beevor's book D-Day, the Battle for Normandy, they talk about it in there. Anyway, moving on. So you got your bombs here, talking away. Bombs, doesn't say what they are, but I'm pretty sure they're £500 bomb. It looks like we might have a £250 as well. There's 2 here, 2 options. Yeah. Just a shame they couldn't have actually written that on there. And then we've got the propeller blades, this massive. You've got 2 options as well. You've got the 3 blade or the 4 blade. But the 4 blade with the paddle propeller was really impressive, wasn't it? So I think the 1B generally had the 4 blade. And then we're finished. 227. I was wrong, it's 229 total panes. Look at that. So you're putting your propeller on and your spinner, and then finally there's just the little aerial and the little stirrup step for the pilot to get in. And the very last thing is a little pitot underneath. Here's a guide for you to paint your pilot. I've got to say, judging on these images, it doesn't look all that. Looks okay, but it doesn't look like Tamiya quality, does he? Because those figures in my Mosquito, at a smaller scale, 32nd, are really brilliant, I've got to say. Position of the instrument decals, and then we've got a load of. And this I think Airfix have done beautifully. They've gone and put lots of history again about the aircraft. And this is at La Fraine Camille. This is one of the famous airfields where they had a forward air base in Normandy, Lower Normandy. And what's that? 121 wing. Okay. And then the second one, France and Belgium, September 44. So this is sort of heading into the Arnhem campaign. And then also probably used at the Battle of the Bulge at Christmas time. RAF Ormel, and also 1945 in Germany, Mr. U. And we've got all the full. Sorry, I'm sort of skipping over. They've got the full marking details. They've done this brilliant. This is almost a foretaste of what was to come later, isn't it? Yeah, I think that the way they've represented these instructions is good. It's just a bit of the detail that was lacking, and giving you some description. And finally, Netherlands. Here we go. February to May 45. Yeah, and it looks very worn out and weathered, this one, which would be correct. The pulverizer. Wow. So there you go. Pulverizer 4, and then on the back you get all 4 options shown. I think they did that really well. I mean, I say there's a little bit of it. There's a bit of lacking detail there, just at the end, but the overall design and the colours and the information, detail about the aircraft and telling you about the pilots. I mean, I haven't got time now to read it all, you'd be here forever, but excellent, isn't it? That was really, when Airfix were good, yeah. I mean, some of the Airfix products are still good. I mean, that JU52, I've not had it in my hands yet, but everybody tells me it's very good. Now, that was the instructions which came out of that bag. I think we all owe a debt of thanks to Neil for letting me handle this. Very, very good of him indeed. Now we have the decals. I've got to be a bit careful here because there's not as much. Well, there's plenty of bag, but they've sealed it quite close to the actual item, which is a little bit annoying. Normally they don't do that. There's normally like acreage of spare bag. Oh, really cut, didn't it? That's not very well at all. Is my blade getting blunt or something? There we go. Got it there in the end. Let's have a look at these decals. And this will get resealed, obviously, in the not very distant future, as soon as I've finished. Otherwise I'll forget. I've learned to do it that way. Now these, I think, are Cartograph. Yes, they are. Printed in Italy by Cartograph. Very beautiful decals. Very beautiful. Even down to the finish, they've got this sort of a satin finish, which I really like, actually. That's wonderful. Look at this. So, lots of stencils. Check firing circuits before connecting leads. Yeah, make sure that they're not live, in other words. Ouch. Got shark's mouth. Oh, who doesn't like a shark's mouth, eh? And then, see what I mean about the sort of satiny finish? It's a nice finish, isn't it? No excess carry film here at all. Not like the Edward stuff we see sometimes. Flawless. Can't find any fault with those. They look absolutely gorgeous, to be honest. Yeah, even down to the sort of the sky type colouring of the lettering, squadron lettering on the side, pulverizer for, wow, epic. Most impressed. Yes, very good. 10 out of 10 for the decal, I'd say. Quite carefully, very carefully. Bear with me. There we go, we'll get those resealed for Neil. Right, plastic time. Oh, what's this? Is this clear parts? I think it is. Let's get cracking. Cross your fingers. Cross everything. Let's see what we got. Oh, so that's like a little bag. Let's rip it open slightly. Oh dear. Probably reseal that as well, in truth. Oh, and it's in tissue. Gosh. How odd. Oh, so this is the small clear parts. Instrumentation. Yeah, tissue. It's the kitchen roll. Is that it came from the factory? It is, isn't it? How bizarre. I thought they could have used a bit of foam, you know, because it's got foam on the other side. Well, they've got foam and tissue. How interesting. But they are very nice clear parts. Have a look at this. I can see we're going to have a problem, aren't we? Just give me a second here, because I think we need to do this right. Let me just bring you in for this, first of all. There's the instrument clear parts. So it's that way, isn't it, in fact? That way. Like so. And then you got this. Look how big they are. It looks like a 72nd scale canopy from a Zero or something. These are the leading edge lights, yeah? Massive. Massive. Right, yes, but indeed, I'm going to have to organise myself a little bit better because just spreading out all this plastic has got it all in the way, I'm afraid. So if you bear with me, just humour me for a couple of moments while I get these out of the way. I think we're going to get confused otherwise, so let me put that in there. Very gently. Good, I was organised today. I moved my chair, so I've got somewhere to put it on. Well, that's very nice. I'm not sure about the tissue paper, the kitchen roll. That literally looks like kitchen roll from the kitchen room at Margate, doesn't it? Probably in India, actually. Anyway, we'll get that sorted. With a bit of resealing for Neil. But they look nice, don't they? Those leading edge lights are absolutely enormous. Can't believe it. Right. This one's already open. Neil's been peeping at it. That's me. Oh, excuse me. Hay fever, it's probably the dust. Well, I've got to say, that canopy looks rather nice. A little bit of distortion, but you will always get that with a big bubble like this. Not the horrors I was fearing I might see. No. Actually looks very, very nice indeed, I'd say that. What do you reckon? What do you think? I think that's a pretty nice canopy, actually. As I say, any bubble of this shape, you're always going to get distortion. And I can tell you the real thing gets very badly distorted. Just ask me how I know. Because that Spitfire that I rode in, which in the back seat has got a really exaggerated, you could call it very, very exaggerated bubble canopy. That was really distorted. I mean, really bad. I mean, it'd be useless as a, you know, if the pilot was, imagine if it was training mission and it was during the war, pilot suddenly got incapacitated and I don't know, had a heart attack or keeled over with lack of oxygen. I couldn't have fought with that aircraft because you'd never spot a 109 because it was so much distortion. You can see it in the video how there's all these reflections and distortions. It's horrendous. So sometimes perhaps I am too unforgiving on clear parts, especially something like that. But that's a beautiful one. They've done it really well. I like that. It's one of a small triumph for Airfix there, I'd say. A small triumph. Right. Okay, now we're getting to the grey stuff. Let's go. Let's try and shuffle through this as quickly as possible while still showing you what you need to see. Well, again, I'm going to overly generous with this bag. This is going to be troublesome. So I'm going to do this. It might be easy to freehand cut this. Going to open for me. I've gone so tight I don't want to cut any more of it, so I won't be able to reseal if I do. Let me just use my scissors. Hold on. I've got some really fancy scissors from Fiskars. They are absolutely sharp as anything. These. I think that if I use those down the seam I will get a good result. And look, it's working. Ah. There we go. Brilliant. Special scissors needed, eh? Yeah, it's not that they haven't been generous with the bag, but they've been crimping them too close. Right, so here we've got the main fuselage, and we have got this beautiful riveting. Ooh. And it has external rivets, very scale-like. Gorgeous detail here. Gorgeous. Just check this out. Look at that riveting, isn't it nice? Wow. Lovely. Yeah, and on this side you've got an access panel there. And this is where you can see the strengthening plates here. Here's the fish plates that was put in to strengthen the tail so it didn't suddenly part company. The problem was they basically put a Hurricane back end on it. And it had so much power and torque, I think the airframe just was not built strong enough. You know, that's what it is. It's basically got a Hurricane with two, almost, you know, kind of like two Hurricane engines. So the twisting motions and the torque motions on the back, the tailplane, just too great. You see it again here. We go. A bit closer. See these fish plates? Here they are. Those are the strengthening plates that they had to put in. Stop it from ripping off. It's also got some oil canning effect, can you see that? Which is nice. Is that deliberate? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it's good. See it? See it? Yeah. Very cool. I like it. Very nice. And then on the other one, it's got the lower wing. And I'll zoom back for this because it's pretty big. Yeah, the lower wing with all the gun ports on, the 2 gun ports. And again, lots of lovely. This time it's not raised rivets. This time they are recessed rivets. But absolutely stunning, isn't it? Really, isn't it big? It's huge. Ah, fantastic. I like it. I like it. Can't see anything wrong with that. I was going to say I'm getting a bit worried because it looks a bit warped, but it's not. It's actually the correct shape. It's the shape of the wing. It has that ever so slight, slightly Stuka-like, like a Stuka that's been straightened out almost. And it has this slight gull winging, doesn't it, on the Typhoon? And it looks correct, so don't worry. Right, going up to that one. I just need to get that protected. Well, it doesn't matter because doesn't matter. I've got to reseal them anyway. So, right now then. Now this time we've got an easier time with the bag. This will be nice and straightforward. I'm very conscious that this is taking time, but it will do. This was always going to be one of my biggest reviews ever, probably, wasn't it? Because it's one of the biggest models ever. Whoa! There we go. Oh yes, look at the size of the sprue. Right, let's zoom you in and we'll go down it one bit at a time. I think that's the best way here. I'm just going to turn my camera ever so slightly because I just think it's a bit... Yeah, that's better. Right, here we go. So we've got our bulkheads and frames. You've got the floor here, which is next to where the rudder pedals are. And then we've got our pilot. To be honest, seeing it in the flesh, it looks okay. I thought it looked a bit crude. Perhaps it just wasn't very well painted, to be honest. Has he got a head, by the way? Why has he got no head? He's got no arms and then no head, but we've got the figure. I think it looks quite nice, actually. Yeah. I think with the right painting, that'll come out a treat, actually. He's a big figure, isn't he? Look at the size of that. And then we've got all the various small parts and trim wheels and things. That's that little sprocket drive that operates the rudder system at the front. And then we've got the fuel tank over here. Fuel tank. See it? That's the fuel tank that goes in front of the pilot here. Split it into 2 for some reason. And then we've got some nice moulding here. There's not really any major flash to speak of. A little bit on the frame, but that doesn't matter, of course. And then, of course, you've got all this beautiful framework that creates the cockpit area, very much like the Hurricane, isn't it? All built up from a... it's quite simple, really, isn't it, the way that they've constructed it. On the second sprue, we have got... so now we get our pilot's... it looks great, doesn't it, actually? Let's try and zoom in a bit more. Here's our pilot's head. Let's try and get him nice and still. Now, my camera does not recognise him as a human. Interestingly, normally it sees a face and it puts crosshair on it. And it's not doing that because of his mask. It thinks he's an alien, I think. But it's good, isn't it? Very detailed, the face, isn't it? His oxygen mask. No, I think they've done that nicely. And then he's got his arms. He's got a bit of a sink in the arm, but it's on the inside. Doesn't matter at all. Let's just look at those hands. Yeah, that's very good. And then here you've got, that's the parachute, by the way, that he sits on. Ask me how I know. Luckily, I was lucky I didn't have to use mine. Yikes. Remember what they said? I said, parachute? He said, yeah, parachute. It's a big one. He said it's not one. It's not like the skydivers use. This is like a proper RAF, like a paratroops parachute. And he said, don't forget, dive out of this door. Door? And it wasn't much, hardly any much bigger depth than this. Door? Yes, and make sure you dive out, and as if you were jumping into a swimming pool. You must dive down. If you go up, you die because you hit the tail. If you go sideways, you die because you're going to hit the horizontal stabiliser. You've got to go down. It's the only way to survive. And I'm thinking, but I'm a big fat chap and I've got this massive parachute strapped to me. There's no way you can get out of there. As I said, famously said recently, I said, even in the training video, we've got a youngish, slim guy, and he was quite tall. It wasn't ideal, really. And even in the video, it doesn't show him actually jumping out, or, you know, they could have put like a mattress or something for him to dive on out of shot. They didn't do that because it was going to be almost impossible. Anyway, I'm sure with the Typhoon, with your big canopy, you just turn it upside down and you'll be able to invert the plane and dive out. No problem. I still get a nervous, wake up in a sweat thinking about that. Jump, jump, jump is the famous instruction you have to obey. Yikes. That's if you hear him. That's another thing. My intercom wasn't brilliant on mine. I can tell you, it wasn't the clearest of radio. So here's the main spar. Look at the size of this thing. It's so huge. It's massive. And here's the other one, the front one. Sorry, that's the rear one. The big one is the front one. Sorry, that's the rear one. And then you've got all of this gubbins. You've got some fine instruments here. I'm struggling to get this in. I've got to do it sideways, unfortunately. You've got instruments and trim controls, throttle levers and things. Here's your main stick. He says, lost it already. There it is. Stick. There you go. It's got the ejector pin nub on it. On the other side, see on the other side as well. There we go. Yes. Nice detail though, isn't there? Very well moulded, isn't it? It's lovely. No probs there. Very nice. I like the figure though. He's actually better than I thought. I don't think that photograph they've shown is terribly well done. This is the danger, isn't it, when you show a photo of a finished part of a kit or the finished model. If it hasn't actually been done that brilliantly, it can put people off, I think. A little bit off-putting. Right, that's that one. That was nice and easy, that one. I'll get that. That'll reseal, no problem. Next, there's a lot of it still to come on. I hope you got yourself a nice big beer or a big mug of tea or coffee or something, because this is going to take off. Oh, now here they've been a bit mean again. They've got lots of bags, but they've gone and crimped it really close. I think I'll manage. I'll get a bit more blade this time. Right. And this has got all the spinning in it, etc. We used to do things that this big. Right, so you get your... Try and handle it so it doesn't damage anything. They're actually relatively strong, they're just so big that they're flexing around everywhere. So you get your rocket rails here. All the little rocket rails that go under the wing. There we go. And then we've got the drop tanks. I think I'm zoomed in too much. There we go. Drop tanks. Then we've got these are the wing tanks, fuel tanks. And then we've got our spinner, and there's actually two different types, and one of course is for the 3-blade. The first one on the left is the 3-blade, and the next one is the 4-blade. And then there is a second 4-blade, which has got different sort of fixing. It's got, if I zoom in, maybe I might explain it better. So this one, if you look very closely at the base, it has got these, right next to where the sprue contact is there, it's got these like rivet covers, rivets that, not rivets, they're fastenings, let's say, where they unscrew and can take the actual spinner off. And it hasn't got those on the other two variants. If you look, it's different. Huh. So there's actually 3 different variants there. We've also got a little bit of flash creeping in on some of these blades. Can you see that? This is why the engine moulding of this blue was often criticised, because it tends to seems to give more flash than the later plastic they use now, the dark grey. And over here we've got the boss for the spinner, for the propeller, I should say. And obviously the spinner goes on the top of that. And again, that's the 4-bladed boss, and then there is the 3-bladed boss. Then we've got this absolutely, I'm trying to get in the picture, these huge leading edge sections, massive. That's that one, and of course you've got your spinner back plate there. Yeah, there's a little bit of flash creeping in, isn't there? And then over here we've got the actual. So those rails. Sorry, I was talking about the rails. The ones I actually showed you were the rails. Bum, bum, bum. One's a rail that attaches to the rocket, and the other one is the rail that attaches to the wing. It's like a double rail, isn't it? Is that the artwork? They've always looked a little bit strange to the eye. So here we've got. These are the rails that attach to the rocket, I think, yeah? No, I'm wrong. These are the rails that attach to the wing, I can tell by the little spigots there. So this attaches to the wing, and then there's a second rail, and then there's the rocket. Confusing, eh? And then you've got your bombs here. So that's your 250-pound bombs, not to be confused with the bigger ones we just saw. Which I didn't really dwell on, did I? Just go back to those, so you can see what I mean. They're much bigger. That's the 500-pound bomb. And these are the smaller 250s. There's the tail ring. And then here's those enormous rockets, famous rockets. Oh, they look pretty good. They look quite nice, actually. Can't see anything wrong with those. I'm not sure I'd go to aftermarket for that. Although one or two of them are a little bit bowed. I don't know if you can see that. Can you make that out? See that one? That's a bit bowed, isn't it? Perhaps I spoke too soon. Not sure how. I'm sure you can make it up. It'll be fine. I'm sure that with a little bit of manipulation that'll work for you. And here's the tail cones for the bombs, complete with the fusing spinners here at the back. Big old huge sprue this, look, it goes on forever. Sheesh. Right. Okay. One thing I will note though, don't think it's not a problem. It's not going to be a problem, I don't think. But again, we've got a load of sink mark on the back of the blades, which is such a common problem. Here, here, sinkage. But don't worry, because that huge spinner will cover it, more than cover it, so it's not going to be an issue really. Yeah, don't think that's really a problem at all for us. Very nice, isn't it, that? Right, now, moving on. Next. So massive, these sprues. They're the biggest sprues I've ever handled, I think. Sure they are. Either these or maybe wing nut wings. Is that open? Not open. What's going on? That's it. Gotcha. Careful. Let's clip the box. Alright, don't worry. No damage. Just nudged the box a bit. Now then. Bump, bump. There we go. It's a lot of kit, isn't there? To be honest, it's kind of better quality than I remember. I remember thinking I couldn't really decide whether to build it. I thought, well, if I do, I'm going to put it, and it's a big box, and I do regret selling it now because I sold it and didn't make any money on it or anything. I think I sold it pretty much at retail. I think they had to stop producing it now. They didn't run it for very long, only a few months, 8 months I think, maybe less. Oh, let's use the scissors again. being a bit awkward. That's it. Nope, it doesn't run away for some reason. What's the problem? There we go. Okay, so now we get into lots of little bits of framework and is that the exhausts? That is the exhaust. Ah, right, okay. Now then, this is the bit we've been waiting for. I was a bit worried about this. Always with these, it's the exhaust and the clear parts which I get nervous about the most. But I have good news. These are the exhausts here. What they've done, they've moulded it in one big section, look. So they haven't ruined it. They haven't gone to put the sprue contact point in the middle of it, and it's not affected it at all. And it looks like you've got two versions there, but they're absolutely fine because you just don't have that issue. Because they haven't gone and done anything silly. So that's great news. And you've got all these little bits of frame. And then over here we've got our horizontal stabilisers. All the lovely rivets. Absolutely brilliant. Look at the detail on that, on the elevators. Elevators and separate trim tabs, and here they are. Here's the elevator trim tabs. Look, that's good, isn't it? I like that. That's proper detail. Epic. And then over here, you've got the rudder. Look at the size of these things. This is like a 72nd scale Spitfire wing, you know. And you got a huge trim tab cut out, and there it is. That's the trim tab there at the top. It's massive, isn't it? Sheesh. And then you've got, of course, you've got your ailerons. I'll have to come back to this. And you've got your ailerons. All nicely. Very raised rivets on these. Really good. The detail is spot on, I've got to say. Lovely, lovely. And then over here we've got our little, this is our little stirrup step, extendable telescopic stirrup that pops down for the pilot to climb himself up onto, get into the aircraft. And then you've got your flaps over here. That's absolutely brilliant. So I'm very pleased with that sprue. That's pleasantly surprised me. Ah, this is good. This is good. I'm enjoying this. This is one of my more enjoyable Airfix reviews I've done. It's not just because it's an older one. It's good. Then you've got your shrouds here for your Hispano cannons. Here are the cannons themselves. Yeah, they don't look... yeah, I'm not going to be critical of them, but because they are so spindly, and I just think they've actually got the attachment point at the end, I would just replace them with the metal ones. Get some metal barreled ones. Master Model or whoever. Here's your, I mean, they're not malformed or anything, it's just that they are, I just don't think they've got the presence that they would have with the metal, turned metal, at this scale. But that said, remember this, when they're behind these shrouds, you're not really going to see them, are you? You'd have to have the shrouds off for it to work, really. Interesting. There's your gun belts, or your ammo belts. Look at that. See all the bullets? And then we've got all sorts of the various structural parts with the framework here. It's got to go into the central area, and you've got the bulkheads here, complete with electrical wiring, conduits. Over here you've got your actual drum feed for the actual part of the cannon. This is all cannon components. And then here we've got the spar section for the wing, or the box section I should say, rather than the spar. It goes around where the gear bay area is. It's pretty good. I mean, there's not much flash. This is the very early days. I just want to draw your attention to this as well. The detail here, which is rather nice. Look at this. So, you know, there's not much flash really here compared to what we've seen on other kits from Airfix from this Indian factory. Or factories, because I'm not convinced it's just only one spot. But the early days of this factory, this is when they did the Wellington, for example, that came from this factory, and I think the Nat also came from this factory, same plastic. all quite well moulded. Not a lot of flash on them really. I mean, it's pretty good though. I've got no complaints at all there. So yeah, I think that what's happened is that the factory themselves are probably chopping and changing where certain things are being moulded, and they may not discuss that with Airfix. Who knows? Who knows? Ooh, right, now then. Gosh, it just keeps on coming, doesn't it? It's a lot of kit here. And this was retailing for, how much was it? About £100 at the time? £100, £110 was it? Something like that. It's not excessive. There's a lot of plastic. A lot. Oh, and they've done this really well. Oil canning effect. Look at this. This might be one of Airfix's best ever products, you know. I really think it might. Look at this. Now check it out. Oil canning effect, can you see it? And over here as well. Oh, look at that. So this is the top cowling, obviously. This is the bottom. You've got bits of the chin cowling here for where the radiator intake is. And again, there's some more mild oil canning. Well, what I like about this, it's not like the border model thing where everything's puffed up like a marshmallow. It's very subtle. It's very subtle. Which, to my eye, makes it look more realistic. And you see it again over here. On the fillet underneath the fuselage. See here, this section. See the oil canning effect there? Turn it around, it might be easy to show you. Check the oil canning. It's not overdone like it is on the border model Heinkel, where it's just a bit over the top. This is very subtle. It's there. It just about catches your eye. It doesn't leap out and punch you in the face like some others do. I think that's excellent. And then over here you've got your these are the doors for the gun bay cover doors. Ha! Yeah, I like that oil canning. I think they've done that really well. It's just here and there. It's not every single panel all puffed up and looking ridiculous, you know, like potato puffs. Now, do you remember that? Some of you of a certain age who were around, let's be honest, who were around in the 1970s, bet you remember those potato puffs before the word puff got used for something else. But potato puffs were a really nice little snack. These were quite a small bag, didn't they? The bag was only about this big. Sort of so big, and I think it was red bag, and it had this like a potato puff come alien character on it, and they were really Moorish, these things. They weren't too salty either. They were nice. I used to love them. One of my favourite snacks. Do you know, I don't think I've mentioned or even thought about those for decades, but it's just what it reminded me of, because there were these like little tiny potato, I don't know how they made them actually, but they puffed up like almost like puffed wheat. And they were just very light and very easy to eat and very tasty. And you wanted, once you found a bag, you want another bag. Potato puffs, there we go. Last from the past. You'll all be nodding and saying, I remember them. If you're in the live chat, you'd be exposing your age there. Right, here we got the wings. Again, this is a really excellent kit from Airfix. But I always wanted to review it, because I always remember thinking it was a nice kit. That was before I did reviews. But again, there's this very, very subtle oil canning effect. It's subtle though, it's only just there. And its subtlety is what gives it the strength, I think. You see it? It's not puffed up and in your face and looking absolutely stupid. It's just a mild version of it. It's just a little bit of the effect. It just gives it that realistic relief. Other side, same again, very subtle, but it's there. Sort of shouting from the rooftops, it's just saying, these panels are just mildly stressed. Around here, for example, you see it. You getting that? Turn it around a bit. I think that's lovely. I'm starting to think this might be the highest scoring Airfix kit I've ever reviewed, which is sad, isn't it? It's going to be the last. And I won't give it extra points because it's the last one. I promise you. Not really seen anything I haven't liked though. It's all been good. What have we got left? Still time for them to screw up though. We mustn't prejudge it. Let's have a look. Oh, you know, it's just getting better and better. Oh, more rockets! Look at that! A feast of rockets. Look at these. They do look quite good. These. I'd go with the kit ones. I think it's just the guns I'd maybe change. That's all. Certainly, if I was going to leave one of the guns uncovered and expose it, so you can see the detail, then I'd go for the master model. But if you're not going to do that, then I wouldn't bother. But look at these. Aren't those great? A whole broadside of rockets. Look at them, they just keep on coming, rocket after rocket after rocket. I'll show you the side so you can see the sort of the nozzle end a little bit more. So they are hollowed out at the end, are they? Oh no, they're not actually. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I thought they were going to be hollowed at the back end. I thought they were on the others. That's odd. I could have sworn they were. Can we just check that? I think we need to just check it because I could have sworn the others were different. I'm probably not in truth, but let's just go and grab them again. Where are the rockets? Where are they? Yeah, here they are. This one. Just thought I saw. No, I was wrong. They're not hollowed out. Okay, my mistake. It's just my eyesight failing me a little bit there. But they're very nice rockets, and I don't think I'd bother changing those. I really don't. I think this is my favourite Airfix kit ever, which is a big thing to say. Didn't know that before I started filming. I didn't anticipate that. But look at this again. The oil canning effect. It's the subtlety that I like. It's there, but it's not stupid. Can you see it on the tail? It's just perfect, isn't it? It's just gives it realism. The fact that it's not. Oh, is that a little sink mark? There's actually a little sink mark there. Oh dear, there is actually. It's a tiny one. Don't think it's a major problem. Your eye probably wouldn't catch it when it's painted, but just here, there's a little sink mark. It's where the moulding is on the opposite side, there where that cutout is. You see it? There. I'll just call it oil canning. But the other side's fine. But that canning is brilliant. It really is. Look at it over on these horizontal stabilisers, look. Again, it's only just there. That's the beauty, that's the strength of it. It's very subtle. It's more obvious on the tail actually. And then of course there isn't any on the actual elevators, which is fair enough because they're constructed a different way, aren't they? I think that's really nice. Here's your armour plating for the pilot. And then we've got more of these, the rail that attaches to the actual aircraft on the wing. And then we've got one or two little itty bits. You've got your filter here, air filter. Very nice, and there's some of this internal detail for the cockpit. It's a cracker, isn't it? Cracker. Yeah, to be honest, that sink mark is so minor. Oh, that's the compass. I didn't show you that, did I? That's the bit I missed. That is actually where the compass goes, I think it is. Was it the gun sight? I can't remember now. I know it's one or the other. This bit here. Compass sits in the middle. I think it's the compass. But it's a triumph, really. It's looking good. What rating is this going to get? Now you start speculating. I knew I was going to like it, but I was expecting there to be a lot more flash. I thought there'd be lots of sink marks, short shots, and I haven't seen anything like that. Doesn't mean there aren't any, I could have missed it. I've done that before, but I haven't seen anything obvious. We've only got one more bag to go, and then we're done. Whoa! It's the Napier Sabre engine and the gear. And they're giving us plenty of bag this time. A bit more generous with the bag. Okay. Right, last ones then, and then we shall have a verdict. And I shall have my final say on Airfix. Oh my goodness, what's all this? Oh. Oh, there. Oh, I've spoken too soon. Ah! It happens every time, doesn't it? Right, what have I seen? I'll show you straight away what I've seen. So, the actual exhausts, which I hadn't appreciated, the actual exhausts appear to be slide moulded, which is interesting. I didn't think they were doing it back then, but they are, and that's great. Just look at those. Here they are, all the exhausts, right? Probably easier if I turn it upside down actually. Can you see it better like that? Yes, so you see the hollow exhaust. The problem is that they have, in fact, gone and put the ejector, they've tried to do the right thing, but they're just not thinking it through. So we've got the ejector pin nub, which you remove, but again they've got to put it right in the middle of where the actual weld seam is. Can you see that? I'm not sure if we're getting this really. I'm not sure if you're seeing it as well as I hoped. Can you see what I mean? They've put the ejector pin nub that you're going to have to cut off right dead centre in the middle of where, again, a bit like the Spitfire, same mistake. And this was earlier there, this was earlier. But they've gone and made that same fundamental flaw where they've gone and put it in the worst possible place in the middle of where there is an actual seam in the little fishtail exhaust. So all the way along you've got an ejector pin knob, you've got to, and then you've lost the seam. And you're going to have to sort of, I don't know, rescribe it probably. So that's a little bit frustrating. I am frustrated. Because they were doing so well and they've made a fundamental mistake there. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, but it's a bit silly. There you see them there. So those nubs are going straight into the seam, which should be visible. It's on the real exhaust, the seam along the exhaust down the centre. And you've got an ejector pin nub right down the middle of it. Oh, why did you do that, Airfix? Over here, on the plus side, you've got the most wonderful looking cylinder head. Look at that. Look at that. It's where the valves are and everything. Oh, that's cool. I like it. So I'm going to try and... I think I'm going to have to knock them 1/4 point off. Do you know, genuinely, I think it was heading for 10 out of 10. And it's going to knock me 10 out of 10. It can't be. I'm sorry. And that's a shame because it was so close. I was convinced that I shouldn't have said anything. Give me again, don't. Anyway, here's the. I think this is the fuel injection system, isn't it? Here, fuel rail. That's the fuel rail, and then there's the injectors that go to all the cylinders, which they've done very nicely. Again, they're using these ejector pin nubs, and they just haven't thought that through. It's a shame about that, isn't it? That is a real shame that they've done that on those exhausts. It's a theme that I don't think, you know, if the kit designer was Paramjit, which I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. I don't think Paramjit, for example, who makes models himself, would have put them there. I think he would have done anything to put it in a different position. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway. Let's not get bogged down because the rest of it's so lovely. But look at this, all the coolant and the oil lines. Look at this, coolant oil pumps, coolant lines. Got the main front exit for the transmission here, the prop. alternator. Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it, really? And then you get your cooling ring here. That I think is the exhaust. Yeah, the exhaust driven supercharger. And over here we've got all these wiring conduits. I mean, they've done it brilliantly, all this. It's a shame that they just fallen on that one thing. Here you've got your weight on wheels, which are gorgeous. Look at the size of these things. They dwarf my thumb. Look at that. Huge. Yeah, I like it. Very nice wheels. Does it say Dunlop? No, it doesn't say Dunlop on them, which is a shame, because I think it should do. And then over here we've got the supercharger, the back of the supercharger, and all the other gubbins really. And then you've got the bottom of the engine. The size of it, massive, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Just a shame about those exhaust stubs. That's just let me down at the last minute, you know. Sigh. Anyway. And then here you go. So this is now just all the final tubing and conduits. Look at this lot. Look at all the electrical conduits and the hydraulic lines here. Isn't it wonderful? Oxygen bottle, high pressure lines, and then you've got your grill, intake grill, and ultimately all the trunking from the air filter here. And that's the supercharger entry intake. You got like a little piston there, like a little actuator. And then over here, of course, we've got the gear doors, which I'm going to zoom back, folks. It's so massive. The gear doors, look at the size of them again. Next to my thumb, it's massive, isn't it? Huge, huge. And then you've got all these final pressure lines, conduits, actuators. It's a lovely, lovely kit. I've got to say, it's only got really that one flaw that I would criticise it for. So annoying that was there. It seems to have hit the high mark in everything else. And I say they repeated that mistake with the 24 scale Spitfire in 2021, was it? And subsequent versions of it. Same problem. If you've ever actually built it and tried to get those, you know, to correct it, it's a real nightmare, I've got to say. Getting your seam lines back. I had the same thing with the... is that a piece of the part? Got a row piece of plastic there. So I'm not sure what that's on. But if you've ever tried to do it, I did it on the 32nd scale Tamiya Spitfire. And yeah, it was the same problem, exactly the same thing. Manufacturers now have cottoned onto this and stopped doing it, so it's just a little bit disappointing that we had that. But I'm not going to dwell on it any longer. I'm going to knock it 1/4 of a point off for that, that's all. Apart from that, I reckon that Typhoon, I reckon, is the best Airfix product that I've reviewed. Genuinely. It's better than the Mosquito was, that had 1 or 2 quality issues I found. Absolutely superb. So it's 9.75 out of 10. And it would have been 10. Nearly 10. I'd love to have given it 10. But if you can see past that, I can't really, you know, but it's a very, very nice model. Like. Such detail, great instructions. Would like a bit more detail. Perhaps I'm being generous. But there's great detail about the aircraft and the history. That they've done perfectly. Just a bit of lacking information about what sort of bombs they are and, you know, what the weight of the detail about the rockets. Nothing, you know. But overall, a lovely package and a great kit, isn't it? A monster of a kit. Are we going to see any more from them in the future? Well, they need to sort out their current situation, because they put people in jobs who are clearly not the right people, not the right kind of people. And I am very pessimistic about the future of that brand. I think that frankly, people need sacking over it. Yeah, not going to get into the details here now, but I think it's very shocking what's happened. I think that it's just somebody, a classic case of somebody who thinks that they've done something probably somewhere else and it's worked, wading in like a bull in a china shop into a situation they don't understand, and clearly don't understand the customers or the history or what is revered about that brand, and then threatening people and threatening the people that are promoting them. I don't whether I agree with the ways that has been done in the past, but why you would threaten people who are your biggest cheerleader, I can't imagine. But they don't need to send me a cease and desist order, because I'm going to take down the Airfix logo, which is there. I'm going to remove it, because I don't think, based on their current attitude, that it deserves to be there. So that's coming down. I won't be reviewing any more of their products until we see a change. And I think that they need to actually come out in social media and say, yeah, we got this wrong. I want to apologise to all our fans and historical customers down the years, and we're going to do better. And they need to do it right now. I mean, yesterday. Because I'm not buying any more of their product. I'm not going to review any more of their product. I'm going to try not to mention their product if I can. That doesn't mean I won't keep my existing kits. I'm not going to be silly about it, but you cannot allow a manufacturer to treat the market and the customers like that. They must learn the hard lesson. That this is just their Jaguar moment, their Ratner moment. Astonishing what they've done. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on the matter. So this is my final Airfix review. 9.75 out of 10. So close to a 10. It's about a hair's breadth away from a 10. A lovely kit from the good old days. Also, just a word, we remember Darryl Burge, who was a really nice guy. I met him several times at Telford, and this was something he proudly launched at Telford in 2013. It was announced, and yeah, I remember it very well, and I was overjoyed. And then when I saw it, you know, in the flesh, I was even more overjoyed, and I've forgotten just how good it was, really. You know, definitely something, if you can pick one of these. I mean, Neil, if I was Neil, I'd hang on to this, really, because I think they'll go up in value. I think this will be a kit that rises in value, and I certainly think it's their heyday. This period, sort of around, I'd say between 2013 and 2023, I think was their peak. In many ways, because they had the Vulcan come out and all this other stuff, didn't they? Some nice kits, you know. And sadly, they're not for me anymore. So, for the reasons I've stated, so I won't dwell on that. I'll just say to you, I would urge you to think twice. If there's any stuff, I mean, they may not survive this company. I don't know. I don't wish it on them. They've still got some of the designers working for them, and I really feel sorry for them. I don't wish any ill on them or their employment status. But if I was them, I'd be looking for something else, because that regime that's now in charge, it sounds absolutely appalling. I don't think I could work under people like that. It must be very, very difficult for them. So, yeah. So, is it Ethan and Paramjit and Matt Whiting and people like that? All of you, I say, best of luck, because you've done a great job. You've been part of this success, huge part of it. Some wonderful kits. And I think that the only way to stop this brand being destroyed completely is to punish the people who are doing it, and that means not buying anything. So I'm not buying the JU52, I'm not buying the Phantom, I'm not buying any of it. That's it, I'm done with Airfix. So good luck to them, and if I was them, I'd do something about this right now. If the managing director is watching, if they're these people, that the financial guys who are owning them Castle now, you better understand you've got this terribly wrong, and the backlash is coming from every quarter, it seems to me. I'm probably the last person to talk about it, actually, and I think you deserve it. I think you've total misjudgment and a shocking way to treat the market and your customers, and you deserve to fail. But we don't want people to lose the job. Well, several people already have, of course, but I'm sorry, but you better get this back on the rails, because that brand will be gone, and you will just find it just collapses. Sales are going to start falling off a cliff, I think, and there'll be nobody but themselves to blame for it. It's a terrible shame. Anyway, I say a massive thank you to Neil at Creative Time Wasting. He went to a lot of effort to get this to me, and a lot of cost, I've got to say, to get that packed up beautifully, and I shall return it in the same way. A stunning, stunning kit, one of the very best ever to come out of the Airfix brand and the Airfix factory. One of Margate's very finest, so I salute them. I salute the people responsible for this. Darryl Burge, rest in peace. I remember him very well, and he had a big part in this, so yeah, what a great guy. What a shame it was he was lost so in an untimely way, and I'm tempted to say he must be turning in his grave. What's going on there? You know, obviously Dale has now moved on. Glad to see that he's got something else, and we'll see what happens next. But don't support them. Don't support them. That's my advice. That's certainly what I'm going to do. So it's the last time I've been. You won't see that again. You won't see the Airfix glass be a glass again. Any Airfix references that pop up will be accidental. And we'll take it from there, and we'll see if these people can get the message and understand that they need to look after the market. The legacy of the brand is being absolutely destroyed right in front of our eyes, and I think it's shocking. And they've got to be made to pay, and there's only one way to make them pay, and that's hit them in the pocket. You can't allow them to insult you the way that they've done it. It's absolutely unbelievable. What's been going on? It's so stupid, so short-sighted, and so pathetically childish. And they've sown the wind, as Bomber Harris said, they will reap the whirlwind. Yeah. And that's me done for this. So anyway, thank you, Daniil. Really appreciate it. 10 out of 10 to you, sir. Thank you very much. Really appreciated everything you've done there. And I shall now repay that by getting those bags all sealed up nicely for you. As if I was never here. Never in that box. And we'll get that back to you. And we've got some other goodies going out to, because I'm going to send him a little gift. And other reward goodies going out to our members. So if you want to become a member, please click the join button and tell me what your thoughts are. I'm all ears. And I look forward to hearing from you very soon. In the meantime, look after yourselves, stay well, stay safe. Sorry it was such a long one. It was always going to be, especially with the other things that are going on with this lot. Let's hope that Hornby get their act together and the future is a bit brighter if somebody else could take them over, or buy the brand or whatever. Someone who actually cares about the product, understands it, and wants a future for it, and isn't just trying to asset strip it, which is what it looks like to me. It certainly gives that impression. Let's hope there is a better future, but in the meantime, you must take matters into your own hands and vote with your feet, I think. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks very much for watching. Stay well, take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye for now.